Day 32. Leviticus 9 through 12. Cleanness and uncleanness. 9. Priests begin their ministry. 10. The death of Nadab and Abihu. Rules for priests. 11. Clean and unclean food. 12. Purification after childbirth. Chapter 12. If the root be impure, so is the branch. Psalmist confesses, surely I was sinful at birth, sinful from the time my mother conceived me. Psalm 51, verse 5. Therefore, all are conceived and born in sin is impure. It is only by Christ, the great sin offering, that the corruption of the child nature is cleansed away.
Chapter 9. It happened on the 8th day that Moses called Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel, and he said to Aaron, Take a calf from the herd for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering without blemish, and offer them before the Lord. You shall speak to the children of Israel, saying, Take a male goat for a sin offering, and a calf and a lamb, both a year old, without blemish, for a burnt offering, and an ox and a ram for peace offerings, to sacrifice before the Lord, and a meal offering mixed with oil, for today the Lord appears to you. They brought what Moses commanded before the tent of meeting, and all the congregation drew near and stood before the Lord. Moses said, This is the thing which the Lord commanded that you should do, and the glory of the Lord shall appear to you. Moses said to Aaron, Draw near to the altar, and offer your sin offering and your burnt offering, and make atonement for yourself and for the people, and offer the offering of the people, and make atonement for them, as the Lord commanded. So Aaron drew near to the altar, and killed the calf of the sin offering which was for himself. The sons of Aaron presented the blood to him, and he dipped his finger in the blood, and put it on the horns of the altar, and poured out the blood at the base of the altar. But the fat, and the kidneys, and the cover from the liver of the sin offering, he burned upon the altar, as the Lord commanded Moses. The flesh and the skin he burned with fire outside the camp. He killed the burnt offering, and Aaron's sons delivered the blood to him, and he sprinkled it on the altar round about. They delivered the burnt offering to him piece by piece, and the head, and he burned them upon the altar. He washed the innards and the legs, and burned them on the burnt offering on the altar. He presented the people's offering, and took the goat of the sin offering which was for the people, and killed it, and offered it for sin like the first. He presented the burnt offering, and offered it according to the ordinance. He presented the meal offering, and filled his hand from there, and burned it upon the altar, besides the burnt offering of the morning. He also killed the ox and the ram, the sacrifice of peace offerings, which was for the people, and Aaron's sons delivered to him the blood, which he sprinkled on the altar round about, and the fat of the ox and of the ram, the fat tail, and that which covers the innards and the kidneys, and the cover of the liver, and they put the fat upon the breast, and he burned the fat on the altar. And the breast and the right thigh Aaron waved for a wave offering before the Lord, as Moses commanded. Aaron lifted up his hands toward the people and blessed them, and he came down from offering the sin offering and the burnt offering and the peace offerings. Moses and Aaron went into the tent of meeting, and came out and blessed the people, and the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people. There came forth fire from before the Lord, and consumed the burnt offering and the fat upon the altar, and when all the people saw it, they shouted and fell on their faces. Chapter 10. Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, each took his censer, and put fire in it, and laid incense on it, and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he had not commanded them. And fire came forth from before the Lord, and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. Then Moses said to Aaron, This is what the Lord spoke of, saying, I will show myself holy to those who come near me, and before all the people I will be glorified. Aaron held his peace. Moses called Mishael and Elzaphan, the sons of Uzziel, the uncle of Aaron, and said to them, Draw near, carry your brothers from before the sanctuary out of the camp. So they drew near and carried them in their coats out of the camp, as Moses had said. Moses said to Aaron, and to Eleazar, and to Ithamar his sons, Don't let the hair of your heads go loose, neither tear your clothes, that you don't die, and that he not be angry with all the congregation. But let your brothers, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which the Lord has kindled. You shall not go out from the door of the tent of meeting, lest you die, for the anointing oil of the Lord is on you. They did according to the word of Moses. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Drink no wine or strong drink, you nor your sons with you, when you go into the tent of meeting, that you don't die. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations, and that you are to make a distinction between the holy and the common, and between the unclean and the clean, and that you are to teach the children of Israel all the statutes which the Lord has spoken to them by Moses. Moses spoke to Aaron and to Eleazar and to Ithamar his sons who were left. Take the meal offering that remains of the offerings of the Lord made by fire, and eat it without yeast beside the altar, for it is most holy. And you shall eat it in a holy place, because it is your portion and your son's portion of the offerings of the Lord made by fire, for so I am commanded. The wave breast and the heave thigh you shall eat in a clean place, you and your sons and your daughters with you, for they are given as your portion and your son's portion, out of the sacrifices of the peace offerings of the children of Israel. The heave thigh and the wave breast they shall bring with the offerings made by fire of the fat, to wave it for a wave offering before the Lord, and it shall be yours, and your sons with you, as a portion forever, as the Lord has commanded. Moses diligently inquired about the goat of the sin offering, and behold, it was burned. And he was angry with Eleazar and with Ithamar the sons of Aaron who were left, saying, Why haven't you eaten the sin offering in the place of the sanctuary, seeing it is most holy, and he has given it to you to bear the iniquity of the congregation, to make atonement for them before the Lord? Behold, its blood was not brought into the inner part of the sanctuary. You certainly should have eaten it in the sanctuary as I commanded. Aaron spoke to Moses, Behold, this day they have offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord, and such things as these have happened to me. And if I had eaten the sin offering today, would it have been pleasing in the sight of the Lord? When Moses heard that, it was pleasing in his sight. Chapter 11. The Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying to them, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, These are the living things which you may eat among all the animals that are on the earth. Whatever parts the hoof, and is cloven-footed, and chews the cud among the animals, that you may eat. Nevertheless, these you shall not eat of those that chew the cud, or those that part the hoof. The camel, because he chews the cud but doesn't have a parted hoof, he is unclean to you. The coney, because he chews the cud but doesn't have a parted hoof, he is unclean to you. The hare, because she chews the cud, but doesn't part the hoof, she is unclean to you. The pig, because he has a split hoof and is cloven-footed, but doesn't chew the cud, he is unclean to you. Of their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall not touch, they are unclean to you. These you may eat of all that are in the waters, whatever has fins and scales in the waters, in the seas and in the rivers, that you may eat. All that don't have fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of all the living creatures that are in the waters, they are an abomination to you, and you shall detest them. You shall not eat of their flesh, and you shall detest their carcasses. Whatever has no fins nor scales in the waters, that is an abomination to you. These you shall detest among the birds, they shall not be eaten, they are an abomination. The eagle and the vulture, and the black vulture, and the red kite, any kind of black kite, any kind of raven, the horned owl, the screech owl, and the gull, any kind of hawk, the little owl, the cormorant, the great owl, the white owl, the desert owl, the osprey, the stork, any kind of heron, the hoopoe, and the bat. All flying insects that walk on all fours are an abomination to you, yet you may eat these. of all winged creeping things that go on all fours, which have legs above their feet, with which to hop on the earth. Even of these you may eat, any kind of locust, any kind of katydid, any kind of cricket, and any kind of grasshopper. But all winged creeping things which have 4 feet are an abomination to you. By these you will become unclean. Whoever touches the carcass of them shall be unclean until the evening. Whoever carries any part of their carcass shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the evening. Every animal which parts the hoof, and is not cloven-footed, nor chews the cud, is unclean to you. Every one who touches them shall be unclean. Whatever goes on its paws among all the animals that go on all fours, they are unclean to you. Whoever touches their carcass shall be unclean until the evening. He who carries their carcass shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the evening. They are unclean to you. These are they which are unclean to you among the creeping things that creep on the earth: the weasel, the rat, any kind of great lizard, the gecko and the monitor lizard, the wall lizard, the skink and the chameleon. These are they which are unclean to you among all that creep. Whoever touches them when they are dead shall be unclean until the evening. On whatever any of them falls when they are dead, it shall be unclean, whether it is in any vessel of wood, or clothing, or skin, or sack, whatever vessel it is, with which any work is done, it must be put into water, and it shall be unclean until the evening, then it will be clean. Every earthen vessel into which any of them falls, all that is in it shall be unclean, and you shall break it. All food which may be eaten, that on which water comes, shall be unclean, and all drink that may be drunk in every such vessel shall be unclean. Everything whereupon part of their carcass falls shall be unclean, whether oven or range for pots. It shall be broken into pieces. They are unclean, and shall be unclean to you. Nevertheless, a spring or a cistern in which water is gathered shall be clean, but that which touches their carcass shall be unclean. If part of their carcass falls on any sowing seed which is to be sown, it is clean. But if water is put on the seed, and part of their carcass falls on it, it is unclean to you. If any animal of which you may eat dies, he who touches its carcass shall be unclean until the evening. He who eats of its carcass shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the evening. He also who carries its carcass shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the evening. Every creeping thing that creeps on the earth is an abomination. It shall not be eaten. Whatever goes on its belly, and whatever goes on all fours, or whatever has many feet, even all creeping things that creep on the earth, them you shall not eat, for they are an abomination. You shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creeps, neither shall you make yourselves unclean with them, that you should be defiled thereby. For I am the Lord your God. Sanctify yourselves therefore, and be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourselves with any kind of creeping thing that moves on the earth. For I am the Lord who brought you up out of the land of Egypt to be your God. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy. This is the law of the animal, and of the bird, and of every living creature that moves in the waters, and of every creature that creeps on the earth, to make a distinction between the clean and the unclean, and between the living thing that may be eaten, and the living thing that may not be eaten. Chapter 12. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, If a woman conceives and bears a male child, then she shall be unclean 7 days, as in the days of her monthly period she shall be unclean. In the 8th day the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. She shall continue in the blood of purification 33 days. She shall not touch any holy thing, nor come into the sanctuary, until the days of her purifying are completed. But if she bears a female child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her period, and she shall continue in the blood of purification 66 days. When the days of her purification are completed for a son or for a daughter, she shall bring to the priest at the door of the tent of meeting a year-old lamb for a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or a turtle-dove for a sin offering. And he shall offer it before the Lord, and make atonement for her. and she shall be cleansed from the fountain of her blood. This is the law for her who bears, whether a male or a female. If she cannot afford a lamb, then she shall take 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, the one for a burnt offering, and the other for a sin offering, and the priest shall make atonement for her, and she shall be clean.